much. Honorable Hon, you are owing me 2 minutes. It's a payback time.
No. I have received another minute, so that would make it 9.
Okay, sure. Back to you. Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Gcaleka.
Good afternoon, Honorable Hon.
Yeah, so when you came to be interviewed as the Deputy Public Protector, we touched base on your period with ex-Minister Malusi Gigaba. Since then, we've had the benefit of the Zondo Commission costing this country R1 billion, but which favoured us with massive amounts of information, amongst others, about your former principal. So I want to revisit your period there and again ask you, did you at the time advise the minister about his close relations with the Guptas and the fact that it exposed him and the country by extension to impropriety, to borrow the words that's used in the Constitution in respect of the public protector?
Honorable Hon, at the time of when I was interviewed for the Deputy Public Protector position, I was very clear that at the time when I worked with Mr. Gigaba, I had no knowledge of his relationship with the Guptas. During my work with him, I had no knowledge of the Guptas. They have never come to the office. I have never seen them. I had never known of his relationship with them. At the time when the issue came up, it came up in the public. And I asked him about it, and he denied any association with the Gupta family.
Okay, and looking back, a professional special advisor, should you have not, given the fact that the allegations at least were already in the public domain, have acted more proactively to protect your minister?
In which way, Honorable Hon, if you could kindly elaborate, to protect him in which way?
Protect him against what happened. Ultimately, he lost his position in the executive, primarily as a consequence of this relationship.
It's not my duty, particularly as an advisor, to protect a minister. The duty of an advisor is to advise the minister in line with his duties in serving the Republic, not on anything personal, because an advisor is employed in terms of Section 12A of the Public Service Act, and it is not a personal advisor, and the advisor performs their duties in line with the law in respect of the advices that an advisor would provide to the minister.
Okay, I'll park that issue. I want to go to your answer around the review of administrative action, specifically in the context of the work of the public protector. And what interested me is the fact that you said that reasonableness, rationality, and proportionality in that context is specifically relevant for the public protector office in the exercise of a discretion. Can you explain to us how, when you embark on an investigation, there is a room for you to be confronted with a discretion?
Yes, the public protector, for instance, after it has been decided that the public protector has jurisdiction in a matter, it then becomes the public protector's discretion on the form that the investigation takes in respect of that matter. For instance, where you've got jurisdiction, and this has been confirmed in the GEMS matter, where you've got jurisdiction, you then have to look into the totality of your matters and say, are you going to investigate everything that is before you? Now, the GEMS judgment actually says that the public protector has a discretion, for instance, to remit other matters to other public bodies which have the authority over those matters. And then, that is...
Yeah, thank you. That's a satisfactory answer. But then once you've embarked on an investigation, you've now exercised your discretion, say, okay, I'm going to take this on board. Where can a discretion then come into play, if at all?
Once you are investigating your particular matter, now what comes into play is the legalities that you face within that matter. It is on the methodology, on how you apply that particular methodology, which witnesses are relevant and which witnesses are going to assist you in your investigations, or any other evidence which would assist you to come to a final decision which is in line with the law.
Is the decision to decide which witnesses are relevant discretionary in nature?
Well, it is discretionary,
Are you quite sure?
yes.
Okay. Then I want to come to your section 196. You've already answered some questions on it. What is the lodestar, the guiding principle now thrashed out by our courts of the method that is to be used for a proper interpretation of any statute or law?
The proper interpretation of any statute of the law, firstly, the supreme law of the country is the Constitution. So in interpreting that law, you need to look at what were the objects of the Constitution, what is the principle and the values and the spirit of the Constitution in line with that particular law.
Maybe we're missing one another. There is a court case of the Supreme Court of Appeal which is now settled in the constitutional era. What is the approach anyone who interprets a law must take? What is that case?
Recently, there is the case of the SARS, which the court took in interpretation of the Tax Administration Act.
Are you aware of Natal Joint Municipal Pension Fund versus Ngomeni?
No, I'm not aware of that
Okay.
case.
So that's actually the case, and the case says that context, you refer to context, must be given by the apparent purpose of a provision. Now, what's the purpose behind the provision in Section 196, which says the President and members of the Executive cannot have other paid work?
The purpose for that is to ensure that the duties that the executive undertake become the primary duty, and that it is not overweighted by the secondary duty, which is the private interest, and further that there is no risk of a conflict between the primary duty and the personal interest.
Yeah, well, that the member of the Executive do not expose themselves to the potential of a risk
Indeed.
of conflict of interest.
Indeed.
So in your Pala report, though, that second leg is nowhere to be found. Would you agree? You only say that ultimately the financial interests did not distract the President unduly from his primary responsibilities.
Not at all, Honourable Member. We discussed the issue of the conflict of interest in the Pala report. Now, primarily what we need to look at, which we actually have interacted with, which has also been confirmed by the Constitutional Court in the recent case of the suspended public protector, whether there is a real risk. Now, there mustn't just be a suspicion or a far-fetched risk or any other potential which is not related on whether there is a real risk of a conflict of interest in the particular matter. And that we have interacted with in our report.
Okay. Lastly, how many reports have you been in charge of in terms of the investigation and bringing out the report, both as the deputy and now as acting, which has been finalized?
Well, I have signed 107 reports. I've interacted with more than that. The figures I do not have, but obviously those were not signed by me.
Okay, and how many of them have been taken on review?
We have 3.
And has any of them been finalized yet?
None of those have been finalized.
Okay, thank you.
I gave you 9.